Hello. It helps if you hit the go live button. Did you know that? I was talking up a storm and we didn't hit go live. Let's see here. Hello, free handly made. Sometimes it's so weird. Let's see. Free handly made. Oh, Bland's Promised Land Ranch is here. Hello.
Hello.
Downtown 66 is making a video with NT Homestead. How's everybody doing tonight? Hello, Slava. How are you? Hi. How are you, Country Mama? Country Mama. Hello, Granny Moreno. Country Mama is a lawn mowing, whirling around country mama on her video. Nice, nice. Good for you. Hello, Gail Southern Living. Welcome, welcome. Glad you're here. How's everybody doing tonight? It's been a long week. I feel like I say that every Friday, but I don't know. I love doing this on Fridays. I know it's hard for a lot of people, and I'm sorry, but it just makes, I don't know, I just like ending the week with all you guys. You make my weekend. Can you guys hear us? Let me know if you can hear us. I'm checking the audio. Says it's working. Oh, okay, good. Thanks, Lisa Colovi. Welcome, Lisa Colovi. Very cool. Oh, that's awesome, Gail. Congratulations.
Yeah, that's good news.
Good news. Good news. Thanks, Granny Marina. We appreciate it. Slava, same to you. And Free Handley, thank you, thank you. Sorry, Blands, it must just be you. So how is everybody's week? I'm posting the link so you guys can come on up and join us. Hello, Susie Jacobson. Welcome, welcome. I totally forgot. I got something really cool, and especially since Gail's here, I want to show her because she'll really like this. So hold on a minute. Take that. I'm going to grab something and give you Ryan for a minute. I forgot to grab it.
Yes, it's been a good week here. We got some rain. It's been pretty dry in our area. We got a lot of, I guess it rained pretty well for about a half hour today, which is good news for the garden and the overall general area, because we are in an area where happens to be a lot of fire danger, and that's good news for us. I'll give you back to Lisa.
Wish I could come up, but my boys are being very needy tonight. Totally understand that. Totally get it. So I got something exciting to show you. Can you get that open? I'm going to let Ryan show it to you. We got something very, very exciting. Ready? Ta-da! We got our stickers. Don't they look good? Hi, Aunt Dale. Welcome, welcome. We got our new stickers. So we're real excited about that. We got our merch store all put up. The only thing that I'm working on is the descriptions to the products. Right now they just say classic logo. So if you're interested in any of the products, just probably the best way to do it is private message me on Instagram. It's the same account number, same account name, Yogi Hollow Farm, and I will tell you about it. But we have it through Teespring, and we set up a store, and I wanted to release it because we did a giveaway with another couple of Instagram accounts this week, and we wanted to make sure that we offered one of the merchandise products to be in the giveaway. So that's why we had to do the quick announcement, and then we hit a little glitch and then figured it out. So we're real excited about that. Hello, Blue Collar Farm. Welcome, welcome. Thanks, Gail. You have a sticker in your future to go on your board, you know. I got people texting me asking, how do I talk to you? So I'm going to tell them. Wrong live. Bland's Promised Land Ranch. Country Mama Pies. Yeah, Andale, the stickers are really cool. We're really excited with them. We're really thrilled with them. So pretty cool about that. And we've got a lot of products out there. There's like hoodies, t-shirts, tank tops, baby onesies, all that stuff. So we're real excited about that. So it's pretty neat. Everybody's saying hi. That's awesome. But yeah, we got our logo all set and we set up the store and we're really excited about it. And Diesel's doing as usual. So is anybody going to come up and talk tonight? I'm going to throw the link on there. See who's coming up to say hey. And I'm just looking at the comments.
Yeah, tomorrow is chicken processing days. We're going to be processing, I think we got roughly 25 to 28 Cornish cross. We're going to start processing them tomorrow. So that'll keep us busy for most of the day. And all the parts came in for my stock cage trailer. So I'll be finishing that up maybe Sunday or Monday. But just waiting for parts has been takes a while. I guess I see that even in where I work, there seems to be, I don't know, still supply chain issues that'll continue, I guess. So just takes longer to get certain things, and hopefully that gets better as we go on, but you never know.
Amanda Skinner's here. Welcome, Amanda Skinner. And then we've got Country Mama's stuffing her pile with Oreos. Oh, sorry, Eric.
Yeah,
we caught you drinking water.
How's it going?
Good, how are you, Eric?
Doing great. Doing great. The stickers look awesome.
Thank you. Thank
I
you.
watched your latest video on the fence repair. That was pretty good. Are you finished, or do you have more to 30 acres? I think it was 30 acres. Is that correct? Yeah, you'll be there a little while.
Yeah. We got done about a quarter of it, maybe a little over a quarter. So basically one side, it's a square.
Yep.
Well, I hope it's a square. If it's a rectangle, I want to cry on this long side.
It looks like you got some good helpers there with you too, so that makes it go well.
Yeah, I mean, it starts out pretty strong, and then, when I turn around, if you watched all the way to the end and you see the video where the kids are in the trees, yeah, it's like, hey, remember we're here to fix fences, not climb trees. Of course,
Yeah.
they can't hear me because they were up too high.
Yeah.
Amanda said, "Is this the pea stain guy?" I was telling her about Arizona Kid. What were you saying, Eric? I'm sorry.
Oh no, I'm just saying the kids were up so high. They're like, what?
Yeah, I was telling Lisa some stories of when I was younger. I had a friend that had in Connecticut had a dairy farm. They probably had 300 or 400 milk cows, and we were doing the same thing, putting up new fence. And I think I was about 12 years old, and he was about 14. His brothers would drop us off and in the morning with all the supplies, and then they would do, this is what you got to do. And then at the end, it was like, you got work to do, no messing around. We'll be back at lunch, and you better have something done.
Yeah.
But
That's
that's kids, that's fun.
Hey,
Yeah.
Joy Bless Life, welcome. Yeah, where is the Arizona kid? He didn't show up tonight. What's going on there?
Well, he wasn't first, I can tell you that much.
You've been beating him on some videos. He's not happy.
Well, it's funny because it's like every video that I watch, I'll scroll through just to see some of the comments. And every time I go like to the first one, he's there saying first. It's like, how old are you? I need to talk to this guy. But it's funny because I've seen some other people where they respond the same way. So I can't remember whose video I was looking at the other day. It was someone else. It was a lady, I think, and she said first, and then right below her was Arizona, and he was like second. You could like see his face.
Wah, wah, wah. Hey, I like a bully Adam. How are you? Hello, Howdy Garden. Welcome. Whatchamacallit? I saw a video with that, and so you know how typing, you think you're humorous, but sometimes people don't find you humorous.
Yeah.
So
I do that quite often. I'm good at that.
Yeah, me too. But it was funny. I think I said last because it was on one of his older videos that I never got a chance to watch, and he was like, "Last," and I was like, "Okay, sorry, I meant because I was so late." He was like, "What do you mean you're gonna be last?"
That's funny.
But yeah, it is fun. And Dale says, "I think it's a hoot to get there first."
Well, it definitely has stepped my game up in trying to get there quicker.
Yeah, you guys are gonna beat me all day long. I don't know. Gail said I beat him. I beat him. LOL. Hey, Farm and HVAC, welcome. So processing chicken day tomorrow.
Sorry.
I'm really happy. They're gross.
I don't like chicken.
I don't like Cornish cross.
I will take, yeah, well, that's what I mean. I don't know how many people know. I have 8 kids. So
wow.
When we first moved down and started living a lifestyle like this, we started out with doing, I think it was like 25 meat birds because we just really weren't sure. We didn't know how to process them. It was all going to be a brand new experience for us. And then after doing it a time or two, my mom and dad, if you've seen some of the videos, my mom and dad are in some of the videos because they live right next door to me. We live on the same property.
Oh, yeah.
And so we had like a whole setup. I had a sink put in place. We had water fed to it. It was like a full operation, and we were just blowing and going. We couldn't be stopped. Well, I didn't realize that that's what was going to cause Monica to want to do like 75 birds. Like, what are you thinking? Like, this is not an enjoyable task. Not to mention, where are you going to put 75 birds?
In the freezer.
Right. Have you and Monica been talking? That's the question.
I think so. In fact, that's all I kept thinking about while you were talking was, I tell Ryan, I'm like, we'll get like 10 turkeys. Hi, Projects with Paul. Welcome.
So what you were saying, Eric, on the chickens, do you still do them or?
Thankfully. Whew, thank you. I have not had to do them in a couple of years. So we've gotten to the point within the last year where we have been fortunate enough not to have to buy any meat from the grocery store.
Nice.
Yeah, and that was the ultimate goal when we moved down to this property, was to be able to do that. And I think one of the big contributors of that is raising pork and rabbit. I think those are two of the big key factors for us.
What do you think about the rabbit?
I think that if I made it for you and you've never had it, you would not know the difference between that and chicken.
Yeah, that's correct.
Especially if it's raised by you, because it definitely does not have any gamey flavor at all. And they say that one female rabbit can produce as much meat per pound as a full-grown butchered cow.
Wow.
Now, and the reason why is because the gestational period for a rabbit is 30 days. They do not go into heat. They are ready to be pregnant at any time. And they drop anywhere between 8 to 12 kits in a litter. And you usually butcher them around the 14-week mark.
Okay.
Wow.
So we don't breed ours quite as often, especially down here in Texas. The big thing for us is heat. And so because we have longer seasons of temperature for summer and, triple digits, things like that, you have to be really careful and mindful of how you're breeding them, but also, just if you're trying to take good care of them, you don't want to have them pregnant every time you turn the corner.
Okay.
Wow. Because I've everybody's been really all over rabbit, and I'm just like, not opposed to it, but just, I don't know. I just wasn't interested in it. But then the more I hear about folks talking about, the great turnaround of meat and the cheap and simplicity of it all, and, all that stuff, it appeals to me more.
How do you have any videos when you cook rabbit, or how you cook it, or do you prepare it differently, or can you grind it up like ground chicken? Or
yeah, see, that's the great thing about rabbit meat is it's so diverse. Monica put up something on Instagram a couple weeks ago where it looked like something off of the Food Network, and she didn't reveal that it was rabbit until the end. But we basically just took the hind legs, made some kind of like tomato flavor, whatever she put. I don't even know what it was, but it was awesome. But we smoke them. A lot of times I'll smoke them. It only takes a couple hours because there is very little fat in them. They're very lean, so they're actually higher in protein and lower in fat than any of the other meats that you can get. So, a lot of times people that have heart conditions, they tell you to stay away from red meat, eat chicken, turkey, things like that. Well, rabbit is even better than that, but most stores don't sell rabbits.
Right.
But we keep them whole. We do grind them. Monica uses it to make ground beef or ground pork stretch a little further if we're trying to make ends meet until next cow is being butchered or pig or whatever it may be.
what?
Fascinating. I just want to say hey to Suburban Homesteader, Wyoming, Arizona.
What breeds do you raise, Eric, of a rabbit?
Sorry, I have
American Blues.
Here, come over here. Do you know? Come over here. This is one of my boys. This is Jacob.
Hi, Jacob.
Hi.
So on our farm, all the kids have different animals that they're responsible for. So the main caretaker of the rabbits is my daughter. She's now 17. She started when she was about 12. And so she's now kind of teaching Jacob the ropes, and he's been helping her for a couple of years. But what are some of the rabbits that we raise?
Well, one of them's American Blues.
So the American Blue is actually a little bit harder to find. That was a huge meat rabbit back in the old days where people were raising rabbits for food, and they have like this grayish bluish coat to them, which is why they're called the American Blue.
Yeah.
And back in the day when it was acceptable to make like rabbit fur jackets and things, they were using those particular rabbits. So,
oh wow! Well, like a bully was saying, less work to prepare rabbit, and Kitchen Garden Therapy was saying, I get rabbit meat from Amish store. It's good. If only my kids only knew that they eat bunnies. Sorry,
well, yeah, and that's a great thing about. I mean, so right now this week I have what do we have? 17 to butcher.
We have 7 over there.
Yeah, well, we had 17 this week, and the cool thing is that because they're so easy to process, the other day we took 7 out. I put 3 on the grill, and then we put 4 in the freezer, so the two can fit into a gallon-sized bag.
Oh wow!
And so I don't have to feel like I have to dedicate an entire day to go butcher. I mean, the thing is with rabbits, with chickens, for me, and this is just mine, but I hate to set everything up and do like 10 and then put everything away and then have to get it back out, because the setup is timely.
Years ago, I did help butcher some rabbits, and even as you cut around the legs, and you just basically just pull the hide down, and you're pretty much cut it around the legs, cut the legs, cut its the cavity, and it's pretty much ready to go, right?
Yeah, I mean, so what we do to make it even easier is we just basically, and I'm sorry if this is grotesque for some folks, but we basically I shoot them personally, and the reason why is so that they're not suffering.
Yeah,
we try to do it as humanely as possible.
Yeah.
But what we do is we cut at the knuckles on the front and the back, at the lowest part where it bends. We cut those areas, and then once I just pull the skin, I don't have to worry about making any cuts around the feet. So,
okay,
I can probably. We did 7, I would say, probably in less than an hour, and that was really with Jacob, and then also one of my other boys that they're learning. They want to know how to be able to do that, and so that's a cool thing too. And I don't know, Ryan, do you hunt or anything, or have you hunted?
I have in the past. I did get this will be the first year in a long time that I'll be able to. I got deer tags here in South Dakota this year, so I can in our area. It's kind of like a lottery, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
But I was fortunate. You can pick several different areas, but I did get tags for the area we live in. So
yeah,
antler or antlerless. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the reason why I ask is so I did not grow up living on a farm. I was about as city as you could be. And then I did not hunt as a kid. I didn't do any of that sort of stuff. And what I found was learning how to process a rabbit helped me when I was put in a position I had to butcher my own cow.
Yeah.
And because of that, I was able to know, the way that you process it is pretty much the same way. It's just from a cow. It's just at a larger scale.
Right.
Yep. So Blue Collar is asking, what's the average weight of a rabbit at butcher time?
That's really going to it's going to be determined based upon your breed size that you have. Some of them, like the American Blues, they're big, whereas some of the New Zealands and the other crosses that we have are not necessarily as big. But the thing that you have to be careful with the rabbit is if you wait until they're too big, then the meat becomes a little bit tough. So, what we try to do is we try to shoot based upon size from just a visual size. And so by the time we process them out, we probably have about 1.5 pounds, 2 pounds of meat.
Nice. So everybody's talking about their lives and, catching rabbits and family hunting. And Tim had wild rabbit, didn't like it. And then Country Mama, she's always good for a story. So it didn't show the whole comment, but it says, as a kid, we had chicken stew on occasion. I don't remember dressing out chickens, but we dressed out and sold a lot of rabbit. Asked my mom when I was an adult if we were eating the rabbits, but she swore it wasn't. But I think she took that secret to the grave.
Yeah, one of the things I wanted. One of the things we're going to try next year is raising pheasant, because I love pheasant is delicious. So I want to. I'm going to probably get a dozen pheasant next year, and I don't know. You kind of got me going back on the rabbits. I think, that sounds. I know we raised them as kids. We didn't eat them. Really, we sold some of them, but in the end, we did butcher them. What we had left, but it's been a while. But they are cleaner than chickens. I do remember that.
Well, see, and the last comment I saw there, or one of the last ones from Blue Collar, where it said that that there's more meat on a chicken than a rabbit. That may be true, but the thing is that I found with rabbits, and anybody that is a true homesteader or trying to be, where you're trying, You know, one of the biggest thing, and I say this in my videos a lot, is time management is so important.
Yeah.
And the problem that I have with the chickens is they are one of the dumbest animals I've ever dealt with. If it's raining, they don't go under the cover. They sit out in the rain, and then half of them die. You know, or I had one time where we were keeping them, and I had like 5 of them that had their heads ripped off. And I'm like, well, why did you put your head out of the cage? It was like they could all see what was killing the other ones, but they all wanted to check it out anyway.
I think you have the dumbest chickens because all my babies run back in the coop.
No. We early this spring when we had the layers, it started raining and then it started hailing, and the chickens, the layers, ran to the other end of the run as far away from the door as they could, and then I ran down in the hail and picked them up one by one and put them into the. Yes, that is accurate.
It's accurate, but they were little. They never had hail before.
Well, the
big ones, the minute it starts to rain last night, they all went.
well, during another hailstorm, if you follow us, you see Sherman. Sherman heard the hail hitting on his tin roof. He ran out, got hit by the hail, and ran back in. So he was smart. The pigs are a smart animal, but yeah, I agree with chickens. They're probably not the smartest animal out there.
I just want to go to the comments for a minute because we've had Rambling with the Brums is here. Hello, Scott. Welcome. Freezer Bound Outdoors is here. Thank you. Welcome. Oh boy, chicken talk, they said. Oh, and you know Country Mama. She said her chickens are geniuses.
I need to get her.
But yeah.
I need her to send me some of her
Blue
chickens.
Collar.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I can't hear you guys. Can you guys hear
Oh,
us?
we're doing this again? All right.
I can hear them.
Can you hear me now?
Okay.
All
If
right,
you
yeah.
guys can hear us, give us a thumbs up. Okay.
Now, can you hear
I
us?
can't hear. Hang on. I cannot hear Blue Collar or Eric.
Oh, there's something going on with you then.
Let me see here. Hold on.
Can you hear me, Eric?
Yeah, I
Okay,
can hear.
Blue Collar, give it a shot.
I can hear both.
No, I don't hear you.
Wow.
Crazy.
Well, I can hear Eric and I can hear Yogi Hollow. So yeah, that's something going on in Yogi Hollow.
says our
side.
I can't hear
microphone-
you guys. This is so frustrating. Hold on, Eric.
Every time we get on, there's some
I
weird
know.
sound problem.
Eric, try now.
I can still hear you. I can hear them.
So weird.
Can you hear me now?
Gotcha now. Finally.
Okay.
This is
Did
what I was thinking.
But you can hear us now?
I can hear everybody. Wonderful.
Okay, that's better. Well, what was that all about?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I
Either.
don't
We're
know.
cursed with sound problems, I think. I don't know
Yeah.
what that is. We're actually ready to, I think, place an order for Freedom Rangers pretty soon.
Yeah.
In the next
Where are you
week or
coming
two.
from?
I think it was J&M Hatchery out of Pennsylvania.
Yeah. But tell them what.
Oh, this is crazy.
Yeah.
J&M Hatchery was, I don't know, they were like, I don't know, $229 or $249 a piece or something like that. But I looked on Meyer Hatchery and they were like $450 or $459. I was like, what is that? That was crazy. Way too much money. But
Yeah.
I don't know if this is what's coming. Everything's so messed up these days. And maybe there's going to be a chicken shortage. I don't know, but
Well,
it's
I
just
think
weird.
there is already one. I mean, because when we went to, wouldn't have had the Cornish Cross. We went to order the Red Rangers
Yeah.
because the post office is an issue for us. We've talked about that before. But
Yeah.
and then there was an account on Instagram, and I do want to mention their name because it really freaked me out that they couldn't get their chickens. Hang on one second. I think it was Hen and Honey. I'll look it up in a minute, but I think it was Hen and Honey Homestead. They had 70 chickens. We're supposed to come on Saturday.
Wow.
They got delayed.
Oh.
So now, Sunday. So they're all dead. Sent me a shipment, and they're all still lost in the mail.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
And I refuse to do the mail part because of that. So I usually go to my local, but he was telling me that the Red Rangers, I would have. So let me see. When did I go get them? The end of May. So when I went to order them, I told him I wanted 30 of the Red Rangers, and he said that, oh gosh, he said it would be until July before I could get them. And I said, all right, well, give me the Cornish Cross. They're disgusting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
they
are.
are.
Yeah, but you know what? The thing I run into constantly, and this has happened to me a couple times, I wander into Tractor Supply and I say, like, hey, I want 10 or 15 of those Cornish Cross. And then they'll come out and say, well, they're $2.49 a piece or something. So I'll tell you what, if you take them all, $1 a piece.
Mhm.
So I end up leaving with like 35, 40 birds. And it's just, oh my God, it's too many birds. But it's cheaper to buy them all than just buy 15,
Yeah.
It's happened to me a couple times.
I want to say real quick, Yogi, is it all right if I use someone else's channel's information real quick? There's a live that I do. I believe it's on Wednesday. It's Hickory Croft. Is that right? Hickory Croft.
Hickory Croft Farms. We always watch them. They're really good.
Yeah.
They're
Hi,
thinkers.
Monica.
Hi.
They're definitely thinkers, but the reason why I bring that up is because, we talk, and Monica and I, we definitely got to this point when COVID hit the first time. I don't know how it was where everybody else was, but I know that there was food shortages all over the place down here in Texas. And as I mentioned earlier, we've been pretty much not having to purchase meat for about a year or so now. And the thing is that with chickens, you're at the mercy of whoever you're buying them from.
Right.
And that's one of the advantages with having the pork and the rabbit, is because you don't have to keep going to an outside source to get them. So the thing is with me, and I remember having this conversation with the family when COVID hit, we talked and said, if things get worse than what they already are, the first animals that are going to go are the cows. And what we'll do is we'll open the pasture up to the pigs and allow more rabbits to start to free range and build like a large sanctuary, if you will, for them to be able to just run and do whatever they want to do.
That's a good
And
point.
it's something to think. It's something to think.
Because you don't have to worry about it. The way Hickory Croft had put it was, they actually did a video and it's really smart. He said it's called the put and take system. And it's basically where you have to go to an outside source to put the animal in your position and then, put your farm, and then you take from that animal, but you're always relying on someone else to start that process.
Right.
Yeah.
If you can get truly self-sufficient, there's animals that you're probably not going to be able to do that with, like the Cornish Cross. But if you've got the Red Rangers, from what I understand, they'll lay eggs, right? If you let them mature long enough.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they would be ones where you can avoid the put and take. If it was me and we were going to do chickens again, I would get the Red Rangers. I would get those other just regular hens. And then I would have my incubator, which I do because I have some kind of crazy addiction to hatching out eggs. But anyway, that's never mind right now. But I would continue to take those eggs and hatch them out and continue to build it up. Mark your chickens year after year. And when you have a band on them that's orange, that's from 2019, then in 2021, get rid of them. Then in 22, you get rid of the 2020s. And if you cycle your animals, you'll never have to rely on someone else getting you those chicks again.
I really love that idea.
I do too. We definitely need more space, but
you can do it with a small amount. You don't need to wait for a whole 2 years.
You know
Let
what?
them be that year old, 6 months old. Cut them loose.
Let me ask you a question about the incubators, because we've looked into that before.
Yeah.
Now, the only thing is, now if you have let's say 10 Ranger hens, and they lay eggs every day. Now, this incubator holds, 60, 80, 100 eggs. I mean, how do you put them all in there? Because you keep saying, well, when you close it, leave it closed. Well, how do you add more eggs? I mean, what?
Okay.
How do you add them all at the same time? And just how does that work?
Okay, so you don't have to. So I don't have a big incubator. I have a incubator and I can take a video and show you all a picture later and be like, this is what I got. But I have an incubator that holds, I think I can hold like 23 or 24 duck eggs. So I can get about 28 chicken eggs, depending on how big they are. And what I do is for instance, just about 3 weeks ago, Eric about died when he walked in the garage because it looked like Tractor Supply. Because what happened was
She did have the metal trough, by the way.
With
Continue.
the animal. Okay. So here's what happened. I had 3 hens go broody, actually maybe like 4. They went broody. And hens, they'll brood out and they'll sit on those clutches and then they'll have 12 eggs. And then they have like 4 babies and they're like, huzzah, let's leave. And I'm like, hold up. You got all these babies. You're not finished yet. Well, she's ready to roll out, but I'm not. So as soon as she hatches that first baby or 2, I snatch as many of the other ones that I see pipping and I start pulling them and I hatch them out myself. I finish them and then I put them under her. As long as she's still in that clutch, I put more eggs under her or more fresh babies each night. So any one that hatch out in my incubator, I put the fresh babies underneath as long as they're not too far apart. Once she gets to that week mark, she's going to know. She's going to be like, oh, no, I'm not going to take these babies anymore. And it's usually survival of the fittest. They will just roll out and the babies are left behind. That's just what it is. So what I like to do is I will incubate them and then I will keep the rest of it. So if I have mama hen here and then I have another one down here, I'll take those eggs and just keep hatching them out. So I'll lift up the incubator, put some new ones in, and then I hand roll them until they all even out. Now, if I start with a fresh clutch, everything is the same age. I let it do its thing and I don't mess with it until, day whatever. But I'll open mine up. I'm not afraid anymore because I realize that it's not just shut it and leave it.
I was just curious because, I didn't know if, you only got 10 birds and you got an incubator that holds 50 eggs, let's say. What do? Sit on those 10 eggs and leave them out? Or do you throw them in there and add new eggs every day? It's just... Well, we lost sound again.
Okay, sorry. Oh, he was yelling. He was yelling at a kid. So,
On a YouTube live. Cut it.
So if you that was actually it too. If you the good thing is that if you check your eggs about, I sat on an egg yesterday, but that's a story for another time.
I feel like these are all commercials for moms over here.
Should we start talking about the side effects?
One of the things I like about it is that, so the thing is that I check my eggs after about a week. I will open up the incubator and I'll look and see which ones are established. Because if I have 26 eggs in an incubator and after 7 days, only 6 of them are fertile and having veins and they're producing, they're looking good, then I'm getting rid of everything else because they don't need to take up space in my incubator. Right. And that way, if I have a stupid duck or a stupid hen that jumps up off a clutch somewhere, I can throw them in there. Or I can just grab a fresh batch from one of my favorite girls and go from there. But the only trick is getting rid of them if your husband doesn't want them.
Monica, you're like fighting. You're like, if they're not producing, they're gone.
That's what it's about. One of the things that we were told very early on when we started farming was by a great guy that we met, and he said every animal that's on your farm is on the payroll, and if they are not paying you back in some way. Yeah. And see, every time I see Ryan doing something, it reminds me of Eric because he's very much of that mindset. If they're not on the payroll, if they're not paying you back for something, if you're not getting something from them, and it sounds kind of heartless sometimes, but it's just the way you have to work sometimes.
Right.
Otherwise, you're going to keep animals that are not doing anything but sucking you dry.
Yeah.
Thanks, Monica.
Yes.
There goes my hopes of a miniature donkey. Thanks, Monica. I really like you, Monica.
No,
but they're so cute. Miniature donkeys are so cute.
They are really
so bad.
Not food producing, and so I'm screwed.
Did you notice all 3 ladies when they said miniature donkeys are cute? All like, all the guys were just like this.
Yeah, you're right about that, but
no, that's what I had said to Lisa. Like when we went down this road, is like with a lot of the animals, if it's not something we can eat or not something that produces something, I have a hard time, spending resources on something like that. Like if we were working ranch and had cattle, well, a horse would be great, but a horse has no value for us, at this stage. And that's why it's something that requires a lot of vet attention, a lot of care for, whether shoeing them or care that that goes into it that is just not. It's got to earn something to have value in my mind.
That's how we got into breeding pigs, because I wanted pet coonies.
Well, pigs breed fast, and so do rabbits. So I can see why you'd want to keep those to establish a meat source. I mean,
Right.
if you can get it that quick.
We want to do pigs so bad. We just need the space.
Yeah, the feeder pigs, to me, I think they required more space because of the fact that they root everything up, like Maggie and Winston. We gave them that pasture, and we gave them that area, and it was full of grass, that small pen, and they destroyed it. And we had a rainier early spring, and it was muddy all the time. And I just kept saying, oh gosh, I hope it dries up, And then it dried up, and then we gave them the pasture. And they took their time at first, and I think it was because Winston wasn't feeling well. But the coonies, they're not doing much. Hey, Homestead Aquarius, welcome. And Drops Family Garden, glad you're here.
So the coonies, they don't really root a whole lot?
No, they're known for not pushing fences. They do root, but they will not root to the extent that Maggie and Winston did. Maggie and Winston literally, what's the right way to say it? Compromised the fence in the pen. And we kept like tree logs that we laid down against it, and we put stuff there and more poles and all that, right?
Yeah, your breeds like your Berkshires, Yorkshires, Duroc, those type pigs do root quite a bit. And the way we put the hog panel in, of course, you put the poles in, and then they rooted up to the fence and then kind of undermined under it.
Right.
So, it's what we did on the other fences is put ran electric about, 8-10 inches off the ground around it to avoid that. But the coonies don't even, the pasture, it looks like essentially a cow has been through there. So the grass is down, and they trample some of it. But if you look at where the two feeder pigs are, it looks like a rototiller's gone through there.
Yeah, Sherman, the only reason I know that he made it down to other than me seeing him, is that the grass was so tall because he didn't get down there. When he finally made it down there, the grass was all laid down. But like tonight when I saw him, it was so funny. I know Tim was saying last week that, he doesn't know how to get down the steps.
Yeah.
The funniest thing about it is today I was down in the girls' pasture, and we were doing chores and we were finishing up. And Sherman hears me down by the girls, and he comes running down. And it was almost like he picked up momentum and couldn't stop. So he's like, and then he gets to the end and he's like,
Hey, wait till it rains a little bit, and he uses that for a slip and slide
like
all the way down.
mudslide,
Yeah, a mudslide down the hill.
Yeah.
yeah. So, but we find that they have not made a mess about anything at all. Sherman made a mess because he kept laying in the same spot.
I wouldn't say a mess. They root a little bit, but nothing major. I think it must be in their instinct to do some of that, but it's not. They won't go down like 4 or 5 inches like the other pigs. So they're pretty simple on the pasture.
Yeah.
What I agree 100%. We have about a 600-pound boar that in the summertime it looks like a crater has been created by him. But I will say real quick, and I'm sorry, I forgot your name, Blue Collar.
Well, I'm Tim, and that's Trinity.
Yeah.
Tim or Trinity. I will probably remember that at some point in the next 10 years or so.
Yeah, us too.
But no, I was going to say another option, especially if you don't have really much room. And the way that we started out with pigs was kind of by accident, if you will. But we actually stumbled onto Potbelly Pigs. Potbelly Pigs, they're slower growing. And most people look at them as being more pets than anything else. And we actually questioned for ourselves at first was, do people even eat Potbelly Pigs? And so, of course, the first time, it was so we only have the feeder pigs now. All of our pigs are big pigs. We've got them contained to their area. We're pretty good about that. But I don't think that we would be where we are now if we didn't have practice, if you will, with something like Potbellies, where we learned how to process them ourselves. There's not really a big market for pigs anyway. And so it's not, even if you're growing big feeder pigs, it's not like you're really selling them for bank.
Yeah.
And unless you're selling papered pigs to a bunch of 4-H people, you're just not getting it. So, the reason why we don't keep all of our piglets is because we don't have room as they get bigger. But
Right.
with the Potbelly pigs, you can keep all of them. And then when you're ready to go to process them, you process them out when they're about 25, 30 pounds. They're perfect for a week's worth of food. Just put them in the smoker. They fit in a 2-gallon size bag.
It's funny. We had a Potbelly pig, and we actually ran across it by accident. I was messing around Marketplace, and I found him like an hour from here. This guy was selling them for $10. So I'm like, for $10, I'll buy a pig for $10. Well, we had him, and I want to say he was about 8 months old.
Mm-hmm.
And I went out there to feed him one morning, and he was just kind of laying down. I figured, all right, he's sleeping. So I put his food out there. When I came home, he was still laying there.
But he was our pet.
Yeah, he was more of a pet, though. We were just, but anyways, we took him to the vet. The vet says, oh, he's got a temperature, probably a little bit of a cold. They gave him a few shots. After we got him home, he was up, walking around. He ate a little bit. And then like a day and a half later, I went out there to wake him up and feed him, and he was dead. So I don't know what happened there, but
Wow.
It was rough. He was a good pig.
Yeah, dude, our daughter loved him. That thing followed her
pet.
everywhere. She'd get on the swing set, he'd sit underneath while she would swing back and forth and wait for it. It was funny.
Her.
Well, that's the thing about pigs, though. They're smart. Like Lisa's probably going to say, they're smart, and you do get attached to them. Just like your meat pigs, Lisa. It's not going to be an easy day when you load them up. I mean, you've not processed pigs before, have you, Lisa?
No. I mean, I'm well aware that Maggie and Winston are going to go, and I'm going to be sad. I mean, just like when Winston got hurt. I mean,
yeah,
I value them, and I value the sacrifice they're going to make for us. So yeah, absolutely. I mean, it'll be sad, but the reality of it is I want to make sure it's an investment. That's the reality.
They probably can't see.
The other part of it is there are animals. We want to make sure we give them the best care possible. I was really upset I couldn't find a vet, and because I want to do right by them because they're going to do right by us. So
yeah.
I mean, is it different than Sherman and the girls? Absolutely. But it's still going to be challenging nonetheless. But I'm prepared for it. Butchering the chickens, I haven't had an issue with. You know what I mean? Like I make sure it's weird. You know how it is. You keep a distance when you know their meat.
Yeah.
I eat them, but I also go, hey, yeah, that's great. Yeah, okay, bye. Gotta go.
Yeah.
So you've seen Peter the pig. You've seen Peter the piglet, right? In some of our videos, the little pig. So I mean, he was only a week old. He should have died. I don't know how. I mean, just by the grace of God, that pig lived, and now he is one of the biggest of his litter mates. We have 2 of his brothers here, and he's the biggest of the 3. And it's amazing to see him. And Eric says, "Oh, you're going to have a hard time with him," and I'm like, "Nope, not any more than what I would have with the others." And he said a couple weeks ago, maybe we should find a petting zoo or something for him. He would be perfect because he still comes to me. He'll put his face right up to my cheek. I mean, he'll take stuff from my hand. And I was like, no way. Because you know what? He's a sweet boy, but that's bacon. I put too much time and energy and love into him. And I do name my food. Homestead Aquarius is like, we don't name our food. Let me tell you what, I have to say that when I am loving my animals as much as I do, because I really, truly do, it means so much more saying goodbye to them. And it's sad sometimes. And my mom said one time, don't you feel heartless? And I'm like, no, I don't. I feel grateful and blessed. And the awesomeness is that I can truly love these animals and know that they are given the best possible life and the best care. And if that means I'm out there every day sitting in the pig pen with these big old pigs, rubbing their bellies and talking to them. And the minute I load them up, I whisper to them in their ears and tell them thank you. And then I walk out.
Yeah.
And that is the best feeling. And yeah, sometimes it brings the tears to your eyes, but that's okay. When we said goodbye to our 4.5-year-old Longhorn with horns from 5.5 feet tip to tip, he grew up on our farm, but we knew it was time for him to go. and I watched them load them up, and I said goodbye, and I took a picture, and I had to walk away because I knew he had spent a good life with us, and I would rather eat meat that lived a good life.
Yeah, and that's important. Good night, suburban homesteaders. Glad you're here. So yeah, Drop said I broke that name your food thing. The rooster went from big jerk to turkey because he's as big as one. LOL. Okay, so call me weird. I have names for all my chickens, but I don't know that I can even tell them apart. There's so many of them.
That's true.
You know, when we started with 12 chickens, we had 4 Rhode Island Reds, 4 Leghorns, and 4 Golden Comets. They all looked alike.
Yeah.
Everybody said personality. No, they all followed me around. So with these,
Yeah, they do that.
Yeah. And it's like the meat birds. Like we always call them, like the first batch, we called them the chicken nuggets because my friend April said, call them the chicken nuggies, you know? And that's what we call them, you know? Hey, Cha-Cha Love, welcome. But yeah, I agree with you. It's all about, you know, living a good life and being grateful for your animals and everything they do for you.
Yeah.
The thing that I like about the Coonies is like, feel like they could be on small land. Like you said, you know, we plan to breed Sherman and the girls. So we have a pasture for the girls, for Sherman, which will be for the boys. And then we have Maggie and Winston, which we plan to be as a farrowing area. So that way the mama and her piglets could be there. Once the other ones are gone, we plan to reseed it. But I feel like literally when we met the Cooney breed from a lady up in northern South Dakota who was really great and invited us up there, they were walking around free ranging.
Oh, wow.
And she'd call them and she'd go, come here. And they come walking over. One was named Marigold, really, really cute. Look at Teasel.
I see him.
Hey, you know what? A
Yeah,
friend of ours has a set. I want to say 700 or 800 pound Jersey steer.
Yes.
For 3 years, they've been feeding this thing hay, and all it is a big lap dog. They'll never eat it. They'll never do anything with it. That cow lucked out because it's going to live there till it dies.
And who's that?
A friend of ours.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Joy Bless Life is still listening while eating. Cha-Cha Love says, I'll cry when I eat my chickens, but thank them as I eat them.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Hello, Brampton Gardner. And here we go. Drops Family Garden said, only animal I can't cull is a rabbit. I'm buying ugly rabbits.
Hey, you know what? When we first moved here, our daughter was 9, and she.
We already.
Oh, you already told about that?
We already covered rabbits, but because you were late.
I was tending the garden. Anyway, the minute them rabbits cut you up, you'll be ready to get rid of them. They go from cute to cut after a little bit. So
Really?
Wow.
Well, yeah, because when they get bigger, sometimes they get a little skittish. It's all about the temperament and which ones you choose. You know, she's really ready to, a lot of times we know which one she's going to call right away because she's 16 now and she's in charge of the rabbitry for the most part. So I can tell right from the get-go which one she's going to keep and which one she's going to get rid of because the babies are all cute. But once they hit about 4 weeks or so, they have they'll start to get their attitude if they're going to catch one. And the American Blues are chill. Like, I think she actually doesn't like to kill any of them. She doesn't like to have any of them processed, but they're big and they'll give us a lot of meat. So we do. But some of the ones they're all white. They're like the American, the New Zealand and New Zealand and California mix. They have the red eyes and they're all white and they're super sweet when they're babies, but they have a little bit more of a skittish attitude. And so if you're moving them or you're, looking at trying to tell what sex they are to try to separate them, because she separates them about 6 weeks. When you're trying to do those things, if they start cutting her up, she's like, done. Because they're too conscious. So she's like, cut me once, that's it. You don't get 3 strikes with me. I think that's when she realized, you know what? Yeah, I can do this. Because we said to her, if you want rabbits, that's great, but we got to eat them. And she was like, okay, let's try it. And it's worked out for us. It doesn't work for everybody. That's not everybody's thing. And that's okay. Everybody has to do what makes them happy on their farmstead.
Right.
Speaking of that,
Oh, no, they cut
I don't know if you can see all those tomatoes floating around on the counter back there.
Oh, that's awesome. Our tomato plants stopped setting fruit for a little bit because it got too hot here.
Ours got ridiculous. We just pulled 2 days ago. Yeah, 225 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah, we're canning and making soup like crazy. I think what's going to happen is after we get all the stuff we want, we're actually going to go over what we wanted for the year. I think we might just pick them all and sit out in the front and sell them for $2 a pound to all the cars driving by. We'll give Paige all the money and let her buy whatever she wants.
There you go. There you
Yeah.
go.
You know, at the end of the season, you can pick them when they're green, and then you can put them in a box or wrap them in paper, like brown paper, and then you can have them take their time turning red over your winter. That's something I did over this winter, and I actually had fresh tomatoes in February.
Oh, wow. So they went a while. Well, growing season here is really long. I mean, tomatoes usually run till, I want to say, well into
Well,
October.
they're in Texas.
Yep.
They probably
End of
get one
October
season
before
too.
everything starts dying off. I mean,
Yeah.
certain things go forever. I mean, we had carrots we were pulling out in January. So, I mean, there's some stuff that does well in the cooler weather and some stuff that doesn't. But
Yeah.
that's an interesting idea, though. I mean, if we know there's going to be a hard frost that's going to kill everything, we pull all the green ones and wrap them.
That's what we did in November of last year. It was basically one of the first videos we did. I had a ton of tomatoes. Literally, our entire 7-foot kitchen table was filled with tomatoes. 8 foot, my bad. He built it. So 8-foot table was filled with tomatoes. I mean, from one end to another, they were green and they were red. And I put them in boxes and put them in bags. And yeah, needless to say, we were eating fresh tomatoes from the time I picked them in November. We were eating fresh tomatoes in February. I think it was the last fresh tomato we had, which was
You
pretty
said
awesome.
you had a video on that?
I didn't do a video. I actually did a video on salsa verde with them. So I probably should have did a video on putting them in boxes and keeping them. I did lose some. I had a couple boxes that I would open them up in a week or so. And I'd see some that were starting to get a little too soft. But I plan on doing it again this year because it really looks rough.
So you had a video on salsa?
Yeah, like green salsa verde. It's probably one of our very first ones.
I got to go back and look that up because I've been looking for a decent salsa recipe. I know nothing about making salsa, so
I'll tell you, the easiest salsa recipe isn't even that one. The easiest salsa recipe is literally your tomatoes, a couple scoops of the Mrs. Wages, that little like package from Walmart, like that's legit. And you put all your tomatoes in a blender or what is it? A KitchenAid, one of those. What's it called?
Food processor.
Can't think. Food processor. Throw the tomatoes in there. Throw some onions. Throw some peppers in there. Put a couple scoops of that Mrs. Wages. You're set.
Wow, that's interesting. I'm gonna have to try that.
And do like when you do like a whole food processor full, do like 1 scoop of the Mrs. Wages and then taste it. Do another one. Don't put too many. Like we do like 3 tablespoons, and my kids are like, "That's perfect." And we go through, several of those jars, and they'll sit right in your refrigerator for a while.
We'll can a few and let them sit in the shelf, but
I don't like mine shelf stable because I feel like they always taste weird when they're shelf stable. I don't like the flavor after it sits for 3 months. I don't like that flavor for some
maybe
reason.
it's too strong.
But in the refrigerator, it's amazing. Like pull it out in 3 weeks and you're set. You got a fresh jar of salsa.
I wonder if we put all the stuff in the jar and then canned it and then pulled it out and then added the Mrs. Wages stuff into it when we were ready to use it.
That would be a really good experiment.
Yeah, we might have to try that.
Well,
Hey, Monica, you see the comment on the screen?
No.
Any of you guys know about that?
No, I never heard about that.
I have heard that too. Yes. I haven't tried that, but I have heard that.
I know you can do carrots.
Why would you put salsa in the sand?
No.
Be kind of gritty, wouldn't it?
Erica, you're a little slow tonight.
Hey, you know what I have heard, and I don't know if this works or not, is putting potatoes in sawdust.
Yeah.
I've heard that before. They store if you put them in sawdust. I've never tried it. I don't know if it works or not, but
I want to try it.
yeah. Well, we need more space. We can grow potatoes.
I'm down with that last comment from Drops. What did he say? He ate all of his tomatoes.
Salsa verde, and I think he said.
Wait a minute.
Where was it?
Oh wait, where'd it go? It's up here.
That's all right.
Oh, they're pico de gallo and salsa.
Oh my
verde.
goodness, yeah.
Oh, that sounds good.
Monica makes this stuff when my daughter-in-law comes over. I mean, the whole quart jar is almost gone and a sitting. We're stupid.
It's the Mrs. Wages thing. It's literally the easiest thing.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to go
Yeah.
find that.
Well, I have to look
It's
at
cheaper. I buy it on Amazon in the like bin. Like it's actually in the like little red can, I think is what it is. Super.
You know what? I mean, you guys are in Texas,
Let me
so
go get-
salsa is probably a really big thing. Here in Tennessee, there's stuff that I can't get here in the stores. I have to order it off Amazon. That might be one of them. I don't know.
Amazon. Look, I'm gonna go get the thing and show y'all so you can see it.
Yeah,
Okay.
because I think Brampton Gardens is asking.
Yeah, it's not like Saison or Sazon or whatever.
No.
Yeah, it's weird. Like open pit barbecue sauce, the original. I can't get it here. I have to order it off Amazon or have somebody from Chicago bring it down. But there's a
Yeah.
couple other things too that you can't get here.
So, Tim, do you grow jalapeno as well?
Yes, I have.
Now we're
4
talking.
plants. I have 4 plants, and I'm the only one in the house that eats them, so I have a ton.
No, I ate jalapeno peppers.
Oh,
first.
that's right. A buddy of mine showed her that if you, oh, I see. Check it out, Trent.
Yeah, I'm looking at it literally like right now on Amazon.
Yup. I
Can
have
you
like
see that Brampton Gardner?
yeah, did she see it? Yeah.
Yeah, I see it.
They don't have the canister. That's a canister. They don't have that.
Just leave it right there.
Yeah.
Oh, they have packets.
Yeah.
I
Keep
think it's
looking it up.
Rachel at Brampton Gardner. Just let us know if you saw
Yeah.
that.
What do you do? You're rude. Get it out of my face.
No, they're still looking.
He's just covering my face.
Well,
Oh,
no,
we have it in a bag.
they don't have that
Whoa.
canister on Amazon.
Ryan just jumped up and said, "We have it in a bag."
Boom,
Oh.
baby. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Ryan knew.
That's what's on Amazon.
So this one makes 14 pints. 14. No, wait.
Wow. Wow, that's
14
quite a bit. I think I got enough tomatoes to hook that up.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Oh, there you go.
I can have
Ryan said.
We bought this.
no
at, like,
MSG in it.
What's your serving size there, Ryan? Is it 11.2 ounces?
The whole net weight.
4 ounce.
Pack of 6 4 ounce.
This one's
Yeah.
4 ounce.
Yeah.
I think it says to use 6. This bag makes 5 pints.
Okay.
Wow, that's quite a bit actually for one bag.
How
yeah,
many-
so I only just scoop it out by the tablespoon. Look, I actually have my tablespoon still in there. I scoop it
Okay.
out. I literally just scoop it out by the tablespoon, and then I start with like 1, and then I'll make people try it. Of course, I don't make anybody try it because they're always like, "Can I try it?" And usually for a big batch, like I'll make 2 food processors full, and I'll use 3 to 5 tablespoons total. It's a lot, but I jar it up in quart jars, and usually it's gone within a few days. I gave my daughter-in-law some, and she went through a pint on her own, like her own normal self, one person. She ate a pint in a week, and she was like, "Can I have more?"
That
Yeah.
we were able to get this at Baumgart,
Wait a
which
minute.
is like a Tractor Supply
Yeah.
or a Fleet Farm or one of those had this. Most of them had this in the canning section.
So I like that it doesn't have any sugar in it, because if you notice a lot of recipes, when you can, like I pickle a lot of my regular like cucumbers and things like that. There's a lot
Yeah,
of
me
recipes
too.
all for adding sugar. And I'm like, why? Just get rid of the sugar. But my mother-in-law doesn't eat any sugar or anything. So I just leave all the sugar out all the time, and it tastes just as good. So I really like this one overall. Mrs. Wages does have stuff added to it, but yeah.
That's why
I'll
I
put the
like
back
it.
of the package up because Slava was asking me what the ingredients were. Slava, I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah.
Drops was talking about I put tomatillos and jalapenos in my pico de gallo. That's yummy.
I'm going to have to try that. I have a ton of tomatillos.
Yeah,
What
they're
is-
not about the ingredients? They're all basic ingredients. There's not like guar, gum, or whatever that stuff
Yep.
is. Whatever.
Well, I can't have MSG, so I'm happy to see that there's none of that in there.
Exactly. Yeah. It's really great.
Pretty
Now,
basic.
what's the difference between a tomato and a tomatillo?
The spelling and I'm on it now, Lisa. See? Don't test me. The tomatillo is, geez, how do you describe it? It's like a tomato. It's like a green tomato, but it's more solid, I guess. Can you say that?
Has a different flavor completely,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
I see Cha-Cha. She could probably answer that pretty well.
I just want to go to the chat for a minute because we had a bunch of people join us. Jason from Struggle and Strive, and I believe it's Connie from All Handmade. Gail is back, and Erin from Bramble Hill is here. Welcome, welcome. I feel like I missed somebody.
You say Granny Marino?
Yep, I know Granny Marino, but there was another one, and I can't scroll back. So if you just joined in and said hey, say hey again for me so I can see it. Oh, I thought it was someone from Alaska, and I want to make sure I say hey.
Yeah, tomatillo is like a green apple. Yeah.
There you go.
Someone said a green tomato. Now it's green apple.
So
That's weird.
So they can be sweet too. One of the things about them I'm finding, because we have a bunch of them, I bought like a 6-pack of tomatillos thinking, I was like, oh, they're like tomatoes. And now they're like crazy big. Like Alicia was saying, hers are huge. Yeah, mine are massive. And I've been pulling tomatillos out for weeks. And I made a few different salsa verdes. I'm not a fan. It has a smell or a taste to it it's not my jam. But Eric and the kids like it. Now, tomatillos actually have more pectin as well. So if you make a cooked salsa, which is what I ended up doing, I roasted my tomatillos. I've done it fresh, and then I did it roasted. And there's a lot of videos out there on how to do it that way, both ways. I didn't do one, but I made the tomatillo, like the salsa verde. And when I put it in my refrigerator, because it's so high in pectin, it almost gelled up.
Oh,
I didn't put any sugar in it, but it almost became like a thick gel. My kids were like, what is this? And I'm like, it's salsa. And it was like a salsa jelly. I mean, they ate it and they thought it was great, but it was really interesting consistency. Not for me. I'm not a fan of it, but I did pickle some the other day and some people really loved it. So
we ordered, I'll have Ryan get it when he comes back in, but we ordered those stickers, and it's really funny. When we ordered the stickers, we got some kind of free sauce with it. Don't ask me why we got free hot sauce with it.
Oh, come on.
Come on, man.
We got the 300 stickers, so that was really cool. Gardening with Goody is here. Are you going to join us online? I'm wondering. Or maybe Jason from Struggle and Strive is going to join us online. I keep putting the link in there. I'm trying to guilt people into it.
I noticed that originally.
Well, Arizona,
and then you said, come on, Tim.
Can you get the hot sauce that we got with the stickers?
Hey, you know what? Arizona Kid's not on. I'm starting to wonder. Did you watch his last video when he was, put the new wheels on his side-by-side and he took it out for a spin? I wonder if the cops got him. I don't know. He's not here.
Yeah.
He said he made a comment on one of the last videos we saw that he wasn't going to be wasn't going to be around much. He was taking a break.
I've heard of that.
Is it good?
I've heard of it. I don't know. I don't really do hot, but
it's from Sticker Mule.
I've heard of it though. That's weird.
Heat intensity. Wait.
Oh, it's 4.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's probably a little on the warm side.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. You're talking about a hot sauce named after ass. I don't know about that one. That might not taste good at all.
We'll let you know. I wanted to back up a little bit where we were talking, just more out of curiosity. Has anyone had have any of you ever dealt with quail?
No, I haven't.
I had a quail as a pet.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
Okay, I've seen it before. You see quail eggs, but I just don't know if there's any value in raising them. I know there's not a lot of meat on them, obviously, but I was just curious if anyone had any experience with quail and if there's any value.
I think the turnaround time on the quail is
fast.
really fast.
Yeah,
I think that's why people like them so much.
Yeah, they're easy to raise from what I hear, and they do grow fast from the videos we've seen. So.
Yeah.
Ryan, I don't know if you saw my facial expression when you said quail, but I thought you said whale.
Oh.
That's a lot of meat.
I'm not gonna lie, I've heard the same thing.
My ears don't always work the best, and that's why I looked at her like, whale? Where in South Dakota?
Yeah, no.
Global warming must have really worked its way over there.
Yeah.
I just wanted to go back. Julie, he said, had a recipe, and she's in the chat. She's got her email if you're interested. I don't want to put it on screen because I want to be respectful. But Gail is asking what chili verde is.
Chili verde.
It's just a green salsa, isn't it?
I think so.
I think it's a green chili. Actually, you use tomatillos and those type of green tomatoes to make your chili instead of using ripened red tomatoes. I believe. I just threw our email up there so that Julie could send it to me. So Julie, if you're still watching, send it to me. I want it.
And Home
Email.
said he said whale too.
Yeah, I guess I don't know if it's the microphone or my accent, but yeah, quail.
Yeah.
With a
I heard
Q.
quail.
Nisi
I was
talking
down
about
there.
having wild quail where she is.
I will say that though, a company I previously worked for, I had to travel to Norway, and I did have whale when I was there because it's common and it is delicious.
Good night, Joy Bless Life. Thanks for being here.
You'd be surprised how many things you find good that taste good that you would never have tried had you not been in a certain position or a certain place. And then you're like, oh, that's kind of good.
Yeah, I had a lot of interesting food there. They eat a lot of reindeer there as well, and we think of reindeer as Rudolph, but yeah, it's much like venison, but good nonetheless.
Yep.
It's always one of those things you hear too when I say something to somebody. I say that we raise rabbits for meat, and they're like, "Oh, you raise rabbits for meat? That's disgusting." Or they'll say, "Yeah, I had an uncle once. He shot a rabbit, and it was nasty." And I'm like, "Okay, not the same. It's really not the same." I mean,
well, that's what Eric was saying earlier. Is it's not gamey or anything like that. Yeah, I had rabbit once when I was a kid, and I didn't like it, man. It tasted real gamey, but it was wild rabbit. Now you're saying the ones you raise, you don't have any of that, so it's a totally different ballgame.
I think a lot of it too is recipes. I've eaten a lot of wild game, and if you can take any piece of wild game and ruin it quickly, you really have to research how to cook it or know someone that knows how to cook it. It's the same with wild rabbits or wild squirrels, for example. I've eaten wild squirrel before that were eating acorns and whatever other nuts and stuff were in the eastern part of the country. But out here, when I was asking about hunting squirrels, one of the guys I talked to said they taste like turpentine because all their food out here essentially is pine cones. So if you have, it all depends what they're eating. They say the same of pronghorn out here. If they're in an area where there's plenty of food and stuff, they're fine. But if you get in a place where they're eating just sagebrush, it's terrible. So it's much like, I guess, what you feed your own animals.
Yeah.
Well, this week, as I was mentioning earlier about processing some rabbits, one of the things I found, and we've read this before, that if you take an animal that you process out and then go to cook it immediately, a lot of times the meat will be very tough. And so I put it to the test this week and tried, once we processed a couple of them rabbits out, threw them on the grill, and it was absolutely tough. And so sometimes I wonder with those stories about people who shoot rabbits, because most people aren't out hunting rabbits to fill the freezer. It's kind of like they're out there, they get it, and they're just going to go ahead and eat it while they're there. And I think that if we were out in the bush or something like that, that would be an option. But it's different. I think a lot of times it has to do with your mindset, what you think you remember as a kid. And as we all know, our taste buds change as we get older anyway.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think you're right about that being tough, but I don't remember the toughness scale. I just remember the flavor was not there for me. It was horrible, but I was probably 12 years old when I tried that, and I was like, I don't like this. But you're right, your taste buds change. Maybe I should try it again.
Well, were you in Canada when you ate that?
Yeah.
Oh, Canadian rabbits. I heard they don't taste as good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good night, Nisi. Thanks for being here. Good night, Rachel.
Yeah, it was not good. I didn't like it.
Eric, I did have a question. When you butcher the rabbits, how do you cool them before you package them? Do you?
So normally, what we do, we kind of have like a assembly line, if you will, we butcher out a few, and then I'll have somebody take them inside, kind of rinse them down, make sure all the hair, or at least as much hair as you can get off of them, is off. And then once we get a couple, and of course you're using cool water while you're doing that, but once you get a couple in the sink and you're ready to start loading them up, then you can package them. And
we put them in the refrigerator. Simple answer. I put them in the fridge, and if we're going to eat them in a day or so, I keep them in the refrigerator. If not, I put them in the freezer right away. Because if you put them in the freezer, even if you like really want to eat one, I've heard that if you put them in the freezer for about 12 hours or whatever it is, just in long enough to kind of pull that. That's the Canadian rabbits. I was just joking, Canadian rabbits.
I just want to say I heard that Canadian rabbits actually taste like maple syrup. So
I don't know, but you know what is funny? I spent a lot of time up there when I was younger. My grandfather had 9 cabins on a lake in the middle of nowhere. One of those places where the plane drops you off and leaves you there, you know. And me and my brother were shooting partridge. You know, partridge it's a small bird like a Cornish hen. It's not real big. Like I said, we're maybe 13, 14 years old, and one of our Canadian friends comes up, and we're yanking all these feathers. He said, "What are you guys doing?" So we're going to clean this, and we're going to eat it. I said, no, you're doing that all wrong. So, all right, well, what do you mean? He grabs the bird, puts it on its back on the ground, and you put 1 foot on each wing up close to the body, and you pull the legs, and everything comes off. I mean, it's the weirdest thing. I was like, it cleans the whole bird in literally 3 seconds. Rinse it off, throw it in the oven, you're good to go.
Didn't you try that with a Cornish cross?
Yeah, I did that with a Cornish cross. It actually worked, but it was a lot harder because those birds are huge.
Hey, bro, cowgirl, welcome. Glad to have you here. We're talking about processing rabbits and animals and you name it.
Oh,
My 19-year-old takes care of our pigs. He's like kind of the main guy in charge. And he keeps telling me, he's like, Mom, we got to remember, right before we get the pigs processed next time, we've got to make sure we start feeding them maple syrup. He's like, I really want that maple bacon. I was like, yeah, okay. You know that's not really going to happen, right? Try. I'm like,
that could get expensive real quick.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, no, dude, you can pay for that.
Heck, I was just happy to finally pull the feed from the Cornish cross tonight. I felt like they were going through a bag a day. That's an exaggeration.
I know. When they get big, man, they're hogs, dude. They're like, they'll eat as much food as you put in front of them, they'll eat it all.
Yeah, and the turkeys are in there, and so we're going to keep the turkeys. So tomorrow when we separate them, the turkeys will be very thrilled that the pigs are gone.
When you guys process your rabbit or even chicken, we always put it on ice for about 24 hours. Like when we process the chickens, we put them on ice in coolers for 24 hours and then cut them up the next day and vacuum seal them out. Do you guys do the same thing?
We cooled them. We did 2 batches. One we cooled for 24 hours. And then because it's just the 2 of us here, we just keep them whole.
Okay.
So, to answer your question, the first time was like 24 hours. The second time, it was like Same day. We butchered them in the morning. And then by 6, 7 o'clock at night, we started packaging them. They were cooled down enough, I would say. And we didn't, when we took them out of the freezer to eat them, I didn't notice any difference.
Okay.
What about you guys? What do you guys do that's different?
it's not really different. I mean, we have a big watering trough that we would put out there, fill it with about halfway with water, the other half with ice. And as we're working on that assembly line, the last person after they're washed and rinsed, they throw them into the ice bucket. And then once we almost fill it up, then we start pulling them from the bottom or whatever.
Yeah, we don't really wait because we are in Texas. When we've done it in November. We've done it a couple different times of the year, mainly like May or November. And we haven't done it for a few years, but because we have it, like we make it a big deal, like an assembly line, we have people here helping. And as soon as we get all of them done, that's when we start taking them in. And if we're going to have someone cut them, they piece them out. His mom's really good at piecing out the chicken. So we would actually have different places where people were working and the whole chickens would go straight in. And the ones that she was piecing out would go into a bigger bowl, into another area, like a 5-gallon bucket or whatever with ice. She threw the pieces in there. So we had a bucket for thighs and we had a bucket for breast meat. And then as soon as we did all the chickens, once the last one was finished, We took the buckets in, and she would stand there with me and just process them together. Because the last time we did chickens, we had over like, I think 38 in the end that we ended up finishing off, but we started with over 50, and we lost so many in the process that
Wow.
we were like, let's just get them done. And so, yeah, we had 38 we did in one day, and it was like, 7 of us trying to just do it, get it done, and get them in the freezer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we used to
we
do
plan to
25 in a crack.
Like 3. Do
We
what?
plan to do the whole chicken. For the chickens, we do whole because Ryan. It's just me and Ryan, and
Yeah.
we'll cook the whole chicken, and then whatever's left over, we have dinner for a couple nights, or whatever,
Make
and then
something else with it.
make something else with it. So the turkeys, the bourbon reds that we're raising right now, if we have a male and a female, we're going to keep them for sustainability
Yeah.
to be able to do our own eggs. But otherwise, they will be processed, and we talked about letting them grow to a certain weight and then piecing them out because they're larger. I want to go to the comments for a minute because projects with Paul, and I put it on the screen.
Yeah.
I've not processed rabbits, so I don't know if you guys can answer this.
I've never heard of that.
Heard of it?
My first thought would be wondering about bruising the animal.
The meat.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've heard of it before, but I've never seen it done. And I would be concerned about bruising the meat only because sometimes you can get bruises on the meat and you'll see it develop over. Like if you have a chicken that breaks the wing off when you're cutting its neck off, they'll bruise a wing. And I'm sure you've seen that if you've processed chickens before. You'll see in the wing area they'll have bruising, and it's kind of gnarly looking. And I would be worried that you would bruise that meat. And I mean, it probably would taste fine, but I don't know.
If I could, I'll adjust that. I wanted to address that real quick with Broke Cowgirl that you had up there.
The canned rabbits.
She said that she canned the rabbits and made rabbit sausage links. That's what I was trying to say earlier about the versatility with rabbit meat and all the different things you can do with it. I've even heard people don't they do jerky with that as well?
Yeah, you can take their belly flaps and actually make rabbit jerky. You can do, if you have the rabbits, you can cut the belly flaps off. It's a very thin piece of meat. It's kind of like the bacon on the pig. And you can take it, you put it in like a brine. You definitely want to brine it and make sure it's nice and, give it a couple days, maybe like 2 days worth of brining. And then you can put that in your dehydrator or your oven and you can make jerky out of it. It's amazing. Actually, we did it a couple times. And then we recently just took a bunch of, we were about to, okay, once the animal's bled out, the meat cannot be bruised. Okay, that makes sense why maybe it happens when you're dealing with the initial cut of the chickens and they bruise. But
well, Broke Cowgirl is just really ruining my night here, man. What in the hell?
Well, that's right. Drops is asking. Drops said, "I don't understand why people process so many meat birds at once. Why not, grab one as you go and make sure you grow food, blah blah blah, and all that." And we don't have solar or wind, but I will say we do it at once, and it's because, like with the Cornish cross, 8 weeks they're mature. And quite honestly, they'll drop dead if they keep going because they'll keep eating and eating and eating.
Break their legs.
Her dad, Trinity's dad, had a couple Cornish cross, and like you said, 8 weeks. He let his go. I want to say it was 16 weeks. Those chickens had to be about 12 pounds. They were massive.
They were.
I don't know how they didn't break their legs.
Yeah.
We had ours free range. So we would stop after our first batch of 15 Cornish, we realized that with our second really big batch that we have to stop feeding them at like 5 o'clock at night. And so because we actually had a few that were so top heavy, they were tumbling. They were walking and literally they were like rolling down flat land. I'm like, you're in Texas, it's flat, dude. You're rolling in front of yourself. But at like 5 o'clock, and then we realized that they would taper off. So we would also let them free range in a confined area for a few hours during the day. And we would kind of cut their food off that way. And so we were able to leave ours until we wanted to do them. And we noticed about 12 weeks is when we did our big batch because timing wise, that's what fit our schedule. So we made ours last until it fit what the schedule is. But on the same thing though, what, Drops is saying though, you could feasibly do that, but Cornish and just in general, processing chickens is for us, it's super annoying. It's just not like hey, let's go grab one. I mean, we can if we want to, because I got plenty of roosters to go that do it, but it's not for us because we're a large family. It's worth it for us to do several and to have them on the ready. But our big thing is now making them shelf stable, and any of the meat that we're having in our freezers, we want it to be more shelf stable. So we recently had a freezer go down. It happened to be literally the day before I went to go get two of our steers that were fully butchered we had, they both hung at over 500 pounds. And which means we were going to get at least 250 pounds of meat back from each one. So I'm looking at 500 pounds of meat getting ready to fill my freezers, and I am flipping out because I don't know if I have enough freezer space. So we took about 14 rabbits and pulled those bags out. They were thawing out anyway because I didn't have the freezer space for them. And so we put them in our refrigerator, thawed them out over the course of the day or so. And in a couple of days, we were able to start basically just piecing them out, and I ground all that meat up. So I went from 14 bags. Well, it was like 10 bags of rabbits to like basically 12 bags of 1 and 2 pounds of rabbit meat, like quart bags, put back in my freezer, nice and flat, stacked up. So we ground as much meat as we could. We actually did it when we were watching a couple lives a couple weeks ago, just sitting there watching YouTube lives and grinding up meat because we had to make it from a lot of space down to small. And I really want to be able to start canning that because like Drop said, if the power goes out, you know.
Yeah. And we've talked about, we have, and Drops brings up a really good point. If the power goes out, what are you going to do to keep it going? So we do have fuel in a generator, and we always have that on hand. So that's not an issue. The first priority is keep the freezer going. However, we've talked about solar. We've got a lot of the rock outcroppings on our property, and some of our videos have showed, and they get a lot of sun. So we've talked about doing some solar panels as we move forward to make us more sustainable. So that's one of the things we have on our plate to try and do. And I just want to go to the comments for a minute. We've got Mr. MT Homestead, which is Mike and Terry. Downtown 66 is here. Projects with Paul we talked about. So I just want to make sure everybody knows we got some good people here. Appreciate you guys. But yeah, it's all about sustainability,
Yeah.
I get what he's saying with the lack, at some point we may be facing no fuel, no power, if an EMP hits, it sounds like he's looking from a prepper point of view, and I'm not trying to label him. I'm just saying that you have to think of these things like the city folks don't really think of, Yeah,
canning, dehydrating, those things are a great way to put it in your room. Keep it shelf stable.
That's why I like the freeze dryer, because we could send it through there and freeze dry it, can it, vacuum seal it. We're good to go.
So bad.
Expensive.
Awesome.
You know what? The last run we did, we think we figured out what happened because we had an issue with we put tomato soup through there and then they sliced up a cucumber and put a little vinegar and dill on it to make like a dill pickle chip. It all went through there, and I left early in the morning, and it was over. I pushed the done button, opened the door, told her it was done. The day got away from us. We went back later and went to taste the soup, and the flavor was way off. I'm like, this ain't right. Something's weird. Apparently, from what I can gather, what happened was there's a vacuum pump, and you got to change the oil on it every 4th or 5th cycle, something like that. And the weird thing was I changed the oil, so I drained it out, and then there's a little round window that you look through that's got a line to show you where the oil should be filled to. I filled it to that line, started up our stuff, and then about halfway through, I look, and the oil's way overfilled. So I'm like, how did that happen? Because when I started it, it was right where it needed to be. Well, they say if the oil's overfilled, it'll get into the machine and get into the food, which is what threw the flavor way out of whack. So it's another thing you got to watch. I got to figure out what happened there because I know it was exactly where it was supposed to be. I fired it up, and it went haywire for some reason.
Yeah, and I think it's Robert at Homestead Aquarius said there's tactics for living when times are good and tactics for when it's rough, and batch raising meat in bad times. and canning them is a good idea. And I think that's really important. And also, always, if you can feed them, that's always the key. And that's so true.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, it's always good to have dual purpose egg layers around, because in rough times you can grab one of them and butcher it.
I don't know. You're kind of in a tough spot there. Do you eat the chicken or eat the eggs it's going to produce every day? That could get weird.
Both, because you'll have plenty of eggs and you'll have plenty of chickens.
Yeah, but if you eat all your chickens, you got no more eggs. So you got to be careful.
Yeah.
You got to weigh it out, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the other thing is sustainability. I think that's a really important thing. And, we talked about that earlier, so that's why we're interested in the rabbits now, because Eric was explaining, and, before Monica got on, and now with Monica, just the idea of having rabbits and how to use them, and the reason why they're so important. But also, we have the meat birds we use. We have we could always cook them all and can them if we needed to.
Yeah.
It's not something we want to do right now, but if we needed to. Hey, Lori at LG. Welcome. Go ahead, Eric.
I wanted to say something because I see a comment that Drops put on there.
Yeah.
That he said he didn't like the label. But, it's I think that the label of being a prepper has become negative, mostly because people who aren't prepared don't like people who are prepared. But I think the ultimate thing is, regardless of whatever perspective you look at things at, or what from a political perspective, whatever side of the aisle you're on, please. I think that most everybody that's on here is probably in the mode of being self-sustainable.
Or wanting to be.
And so I think that in the grand scheme of things, whatever you call it, self-sustainable, homesteading, prepper, the title to me is, like I said, I think that some of them carry some negative connotations, but I think the end goal probably for most people in this circle that we're in is trying to be prepared just to not have to rely on anybody.
I think that's well said.
I guess
that's part of it. I think a big part of us getting more dragged into this was you get really tired of turning on the news and all your food's being recalled.
Yeah.
All the chicken. I mean, Tyson, I think it was Tyson just had a thing, 8 million pounds of chicken recalled for some kind of bacteria. We don't have that problem with our chickens. They're clean. I've never had an issue.
Right.
I told you,
chickens never get recalled.
I told you, chickens are evil, man.
I think when the labels, that kind of, it bothers me. Doesn't really bother me, but if you look at, I just look at it going back to where this country was before the Industrial Revolution. When the United States was an agricultural society, everyone did what we're doing.
Right. Yeah.
And so to say a prepper, stockpiling 5,000 gallons of gasoline at your house, it is not realistic.
I'd like to see that explosion.
Well, those are what you see, or getting a tractor trailer load of toilet paper. I mean, that stuff just doesn't make sense. But for what basically this is just essentially going back in time, I guess, in basic terms.
Yeah.
Up to where you're able to make the majority of the stuff that you need, you're able to do yourselves.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing too. I mean, if everybody grew a garden and raised animals, the grocery stores, the prices would plummet. If everybody was just trading food back and forth, you got some pigs, I got some chicken, let's make a trade, whatever.
It's the community, not the corporate.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was getting ready to say too. If you think about it, you guys may not be able to raise pigs on your property because you don't have the space or whatever. So you find someone that you trust, and that's a hard thing these days to find people you really trust. But if you have a community, you have people that you do trust, and it's a small group of people that you work with, then you can communicate with them and trade things back and forth. We're not great with trees. We don't raise a plethora of fruit trees, but my sister and brother-in-law, that's their jam. They can raise trees like that, and they've got plenty of fruit trees coming. And so they always say, we'll have the orchard, we'll have all the fruit trees and all those things, and you guys can have the vegetables and all the the cucumbers and all those other things in your garden, and we'll keep swapping off. You know,
Yeah,
we
for sure.
have some pieces of property here, so we put some of our animals there so that, but by making that a community, you know, like you're saying, when you work that community like that, then you know that in times of need, like when COVID hit, my sister was like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? You know, we only have this much room. And I'm like, Mindy, I've got meat in the freezer, girl. You tell me what you need and I'll be at your house in 30 minutes. I'll bring you food.
Right.
You know, everything's on lockdown, but they're not stopping me from coming to your house to bring you food because it's a grocery run. So
Just make sure you bring toilet paper.
Yeah.
I kept my toilet paper. Okay. We got a lot of people here.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, and that's the thing. I think that if we all get to I know that nobody is self-sustaining, but I think that if we, and obviously network with others like Drops is talking about, but I also think the ability to increase your self-sustainability. You don't have to be fully self-sustaining, but I think, you know, so Blue Collar's got all these tomatoes. So taking a tomato and getting all those seeds and making seedlings out of them and just all the little things that we can do reduces our dependence on other things. You know what I mean? And I know for us, we live in a tourist town. And so the grocery store is out of control normally, but it's worse in the summertime. And so, you know, yeah, we still go to Sam's. We still go to bigger stores in about an hour from us. So when I go to work, I order online, we pick it up and we make it easier. But then we still need to, you know, build our own meat and grow our own meat. But if we went to the local store, we'd be done. Like that would be all our money right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's ridiculous.
It's done.
I mean, we're thinking about, so far we've pulled, I think, a little over 400 pounds of tomatoes. Now, what do they charge in the store for tomatoes? You times that by 400, man, that's a lot of money.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
What do they charge for salsa? Because let me just tell you.
oh, that's even worse.
You could make a heck of a lot more money selling salsa with a few of your hot peppers in there, maybe grow some of your own onions. It made me feel so good this year when I made the salsa this first couple times that I was using my own jalapenos, my own onions, because I've never been able to grow onions before, and I finally did this year. My own, everything was my own, except for Mrs. Wages. Thank you, Mrs. Wages. Otherwise, you know, and like Eric said, he's like, everything in that you could buy. I mean, you can make. You don't need to buy it. And he's right. I just don't know the combination.
Yeah.
I need to contact Mrs. Wages and be like, hey, lady, what's up? What's the ratio of chili powder to your chilies?
Yeah.
Otherwise, you know, that's just the easy way out for me. I'm not dependent on it. I could make salsa on my own, add some good seasonings, but it's a nice way to do it. But the thing is that if you're looking to get rid of a product, if you have too much of it, find ways to make the most bang for your buck, you know, figure out how the least amount of time. I mean, salsa doesn't take hardly any time. Once you start moving along, you could can that up, put it in your refrigerator. Don't even take time to make it shelf stable. Can it up and sell it as fresh salsa to your friends or gift it, because once people start tasting it, they're gonna be like, oh my gosh, can I buy some tomatoes so I can make some of that? Or can I buy a jar of that? You're like, yeah, $5, bring the jar back. It's only $3 next time.
Wait, you have people asking to buy your own salsa because everyone's like, can I just have it?
So I actually have a friend. We do barter. I do barter a lot. And so my boys I have 5 boys, 13 and under. And all 5 of those boys are in gymnastics class. And this could cost me a lot of money. Oh, yeah. But she said to me, hey, I can't grow a garden like you can. Can we just barter for this class fee? And I'm like, yes, we can. Oh, so yeah. I will take her vegetables. I will take her fruits and stuff. I will take her cucumbers and everything to make. I will take her pickles freshly made. And I'm like, hey, when you're done, bring back my jar and I'll bring it back to you. They're amazing to be able to barter that way and do that. And find people, ask people. It can't hurt to ask somebody, hey, would you barter? I realized that when we were, you know, working with somebody and I was like, would you accept a trade? We just traded a cow-calf pair bred back for 24 rolls of hay.
Wow.
That's good.
27.
24, because 3 of them are coming from meat sale.
I've done that before. I've done that before on different jobs.
Yeah.
I'll take something on as payment for work done and stuff like that. I've done that before.
Yeah,
that definitely works if you know, as long as you both have something the other one needs, you know.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, you know, there's so many ways to just either barter or just, sell things to folks, I mean, it's like my hairdresser, it's like she ends up getting eggs and I get my hair done, you know what I mean? So
That's
That's my hairdresser right there.
yeah,
That's
just
my
great ways to do it.
That's the way to do it.
Homestead Aquarius said, good job to everyone learning and passing down the knowledge and skills of homesteading. Yeah, thank you. We appreciate it. I think it's been a great discussion tonight. And then Projects with Paul said, oh my God, 5 boys at 13 and under.
I can only imagine all the broken stuff.
That's just the bottom half of my kids. I still have 3 older ones, so 8 total, but yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh my
That's
gosh,
funny.
guys.
He said, hook them on the
I've
first
been
free
there.
jar.
Yeah.
I'm one of 7. There's 5 more of me out there. I got 5 sisters and 1 brother.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was the joke with our eggs. We were giving them away for free to people, and I won't say what we called them, but we were giving them away to free to people, and we were like, yeah, we're just trying to get you hooked on them, and then we'll sell them to you.
Yeah. The free jar.
And then everybody was really excited, and I was like, bring me back the carton.
Well, that's what she's doing with the salsa over there.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah. Yep. It's so cool. I mean, I think that, it's really great that we have this community. We have an online forum to be able to talk about it. If you think about it, Drops is talking about his dad would just take in a sack of potatoes during the Depression and buy stuff with it. But we didn't have the ability to connect like we do now, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can hear Blue Collar is the tomato gurus of all the tomatoes that they're growing and the tomato soup and all that stuff. And then you got Bland's who's, got the chickens, got the pigs, got the steer, got the fence fix and all that stuff. So I think it's really cool that we can all connect on this stuff,
Yeah, everybody's got something different going on. So it's kind of cool to connect and see what you're doing for this and what you're doing for that. Plus to get ideas for stuff you might want to do in the future.
And learning from each other. Like the other person.
By all means, I don't know everything there is to know about tomatoes, but whatever I'm doing, it appears to be working. So,
Yep. Yep. Absolutely.
Thank you, Projects with Paul.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I'm tired. How you guys feeling?
Yeah, I worked all day today out in the heat, man. So I think I'm about done too.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. And Eric and Monica, make sure you check your Instagram. I sent you guys a message.
Oh, okay. Will do.
All right, it was nice hanging out with Bland's too.
Yeah, it was nice hanging out with everybody. Thanks everybody for being here. We've got Drops, MT Homestead, Mr. MT, Homestead Aquarius. Ryan's back.
Hi,
We're just
Ryan.
talking, we're tired.
Hi, Ryan.
Ryan.
All right, take it easy.
Y'all have a good night.
Good night.
Bye, Diesel.
Yeah. Look at Diesel. Oh, so cute.
He's something else.
Yeah, thank you for joining us.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks for having us.
Thanks
Take
for
care.
having us.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, no problem. Well, thanks everybody. Hope everybody has a great night and have a great weekend, okay?
You too.
Yeah.
All right.
Take care.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye, y'all. Thank you.